From Gary Keller and Papasan's book The One Thing, you'll learn how to prioritize chores, know what to accomplish first on a to-do list, how to think big to be exceptionally successful, and the simple truth behind amazing outcomes. Introduction. Your opportunities may be limited if you don't think large. Arthur Guinness secured a 9,000-year lease on the property when he opened his first brewery, indicating that he had more ambitious goals than just making a few barrels of stout. Similar to this, before J.K. Rowling even started writing the first chapter of the first book, she had 7 books about life at Hogwarts in mind when she had the concept for Harry Potter. Both of these individuals went on to achieve extraordinary success, which was in large part a result of their willingness to think big and their decision to begin working toward their goals with a lofty vision of success in the first place. It's difficult to suppose that they would have been as successful if they hadn't first thought so big. However, the majority of people find the idea of great concepts or big accomplishments intimidating and associated with unpleasant emotions like being scared and overwhelmed. Many times, these unfavorable thoughts impede people from having significant ideas. When we fail to think broadly and let these unfavorable associations rule us, our thinking becomes more limited and our trajectory is lowered. We consciously lower our bar for success and doom ourselves to mediocrity. If someone hadn't dared to imagine previously unthinkable possibilities, such as that people could breathe underwater, soar through the air, or explore space, consider how much of science's advancement would have stagnated. We should not let the boundaries we see stifle our dreams because history shows that we've done a fairly terrible job of assessing our limits. Action necessitates thought, and thought necessitates success. But for extraordinary achievements to be achieved, large thought must be the initial foundation of our activities. Your opportunities may be limited if you don't think large. Principle Concept 1. Set priorities for your tasks, they are not all equally crucial. To keep track of all the chores they need to complete, the majority of people occasionally create to-do lists. But how do you choose which item to tackle first once you have your list? Do you begin with the most time-consuming ones or do you finish the lesser ones first? Perhaps you should simply read them in the order in which they were written? These strategies overlook the fact that not all things are equally significant. Since only a few number of them are most likely to have a significant effect, these should be given the highest attention. The work of Joseph M. Juran, a forerunner in quality control management, supports this conclusion. He found out while working for General Motors that a small number of production problems were the primary cause of the majority of the issues in their vehicles. It was obvious that addressing these issues need to be their top focus. Vilfredo Pareto, an Italian economist who developed a model for the distribution of wealth and income in 19th century Italy, inspired Juran to name his discovery the Pareto principle. Pareto's approach demonstrated that 20% of the population held 80% of the land. These ratios, according to Juran, matched his own. Only 20% of the errors caused 80% of the defects. The 80-20 rule states that only 20% of your work or inputs will result in 80% of your outcomes or outputs, which may actually be a universal law. The consequences of this idea are obvious. Not all of the items on your to-do list are equally crucial to your success, just a select few of them will. Set priorities for your tasks so that you can concentrate on those that will produce the majority of your desired results. Set priorities for your tasks because they are not all equally crucial. Key idea 2. The focused question can help you set priorities, make tasks that can be completed, and reach your objectives. According to a quote by Mark Twain about success, starting is the key to moving forward. Breaking down large, intimidating projects into smaller, more manageable ones and starting with the first one is the key to getting started. This is excellent advice, but it can be challenging to figure out where you want to go and what the first step should be to get there. Here is where the focused question might be useful in assisting you in determining both where you want to go and how to begin your journey. What can I do that will make everything else simpler or unnecessary, and what is that one thing? There are 2 ways to approach this question, each with a distinct purpose. The centering question can help you, on a larger scale, grasp the big picture and pinpoint your ultimate objective, the one thing you want to do and accomplish in life. Your ultimate professional objective can be your one thing in this situation. Second, the focusing question gives you a little emphasis to order your current options and choose the most advantageous activity to begin with on a more immediate, practical level. You're seeking for the one action you can take right away, like make that call. Finding the proper path in life is the first stage, choosing the right course of action is the second. Asking yourself the focusing question over and again can help you stay focused on your objective and give you practical steps that build on one another to advance and gain momentum. Who knows what you can accomplish if you keep asking? The focused question will assist you in setting priorities, producing tasks that can be completed, and achieving your objectives. Key Concept 3. The development of consecutive habits is the key to leading a disciplined life. When we consider someone as accomplished as Bill Gates, we frequently credit his amazing success to the extraordinary self-discipline that allowed him to learn how to program computers during his formative years. This degree of discipline appears to be an overwhelming, unreachable objective. How do those who are successful keep such discipline? On closer examination, we discover that the secret to their success lies not so much in the constant application of a vast amount of discipline to maintain their focus and motivation, but rather in the selective application of discipline to create persistent positive habits. A telling example is Michael Phelps' narrative of achievement. Although he is well regarded for his discipline and focus, he really had an attention deficit hyperactivity disorder diagnosis as a child. He was believed to never be able to concentrate on anything. How then did he change the situation? He focused all of his discipline on developing the daily practice of swimming. He trained 7 days a week, 365 days a year, starting when he was 14 years old and continuing through the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing. Just one habit is the beginning. Once something becomes a habit, you can turn your focus to developing a new one and then building them up sequentially because habits are much easier to sustain than to start. For instance, you may begin by arriving at work 30 minutes early each day so that you can finish your inbox before your coworkers show up. Once you've formed this habit, you can strengthen it by using your discipline to concentrate on one thing for extended periods of time. Once you've established this habit, you can move on to the next. You can achieve the appearance and advantages of a disciplined life without the need for superhuman discipline by developing positive habits through selectively applying discipline. The development of successive habits is the key to living a disciplined life. Key Concept Number 4. Multitasking is very ineffective. Choose one item, and focus entirely on it. Nowadays, it is well acknowledged that multitasking is beneficial. The phrase generally refers to the idea that multitasking is a useful strategy. The phrase typically means to do two or more things simultaneously. However, the term was first used to describe a computer that used a single processor to handle several jobs at once, switching between them quickly. A distinction that turns out to be very revealing. Despite the fact that humans may sometimes multitask, for instance, walk and talk on the phone, we cannot successfully concentrate on two tasks at once. This means that, oftentimes, we are actually juggling two or more things when we think we are multitasking, shifting our attention from one to the other much like a computer does. According to research, humans suffer a time penalty when they switch between tasks since it takes time to switch their attention from one work to another. When you are returning to a task that is more complex, the time cost may be little for jobs that are relatively easy. For instance, if a coworker interrupts you while you are working on a complex spreadsheet to discuss a challenging business issue, time will be lost when you go back to the spreadsheet and find it difficult to recall where you were in the procedure and what you were attempting to accomplish. These time penalties during the day quickly build up, especially in the workplace. Office workers are reportedly interrupted every 11 minutes on average, and they can take up to a third of their working day to recover from these interruptions. A third of your workday lost, can you really afford that? Decide what is most important right now and focus entirely on it. It is incredibly ineffective to multitask. Choose one item, and focus entirely on it. Fifth key concept. Use your willpower wisely or you risk running out of it when you need it the most. Think of it as a fuel tank. Most people sadly recognize that they lack unbreakable willpower. What is unexpected, though, is that studies have found that instead of being a continuous resource, our willpower actually depletes at different rates throughout the day, depending on the activities we partake in. For instance, when we choose to concentrate our attention, control our emotions, or alter our behavior in order to achieve a goal, our willpower is spent. When our willpower is depleted, we are less able to use it should more tasks require it. This would explain why, after a period of making difficult choices or doing tiresome labor, you could find it difficult to resist a nice food. Giving in to a guilty pleasure is one thing, but if you are making decisions that could mean the difference between life and death when you lack control, the repercussions could be much more severe. Few decisions are more significant to prisoners as the outcome of the upcoming parole board hearing. Could anything as random as the time of day affect such important decisions? They could. According to research involving Israeli parole judges, judges were considerably more likely to render favorable decisions early in a parole hearing than later. This is due to the fact that as the day dragged on and their resolve waned, the judges tended to depend on the presumption of no parole. After breaks and a snack, the rate of favorable evaluations began to increase once more. Planning your day will help you avoid making important decisions or judgments when you're not at your strongest willpower. Your willpower is like a fuel tank, you must utilize it wisely or you risk running out just when you need it most. Key Concept 6. If you want to concentrate your energies on the most critical jobs, you must learn to say no to the less important ones. Everybody struggles occasionally with saying no to requests since they are made out of a desire to help. Even though helping others can be incredibly satisfying, you need to learn to say no to requests that aren't as important as your top priorities if you want to save your time and effort for them. Steve Jobs is renowned for being equally happy of the projects he abandoned as the ones he pursued. In 1997, when he rejoined Apple, he cut production from 350 products to only 10. A lot of no's, that. He stated, "When you think about focusing, you assume, well, focusing is about saying yes. No." During a developers conference in 1997. By saying no, you can focus. It's not always as chilly or as selfish to say no to requests as it might seem. You might always try to suggest a different course of action that doesn't involve your support or send them in the direction of a better suitable individual. Consider putting procedures in place that will reduce the number of requests you receive, such as requiring staff to consult a list of frequently asked questions before contacting you. This might be helpful, but keep in mind that if you want to achieve, you occasionally have to say no to people. If you want to concentrate your efforts and complete the most important chores, you must be willing to say no to unimportant jobs because you have a limited amount of time and resources. If you want to concentrate your energies on the most critical jobs, you must learn to say no to the less important ones. Principle 7. You will put yourself on the path to amazing results by living with purpose and picturing the steps necessary to reach your objective. Imagine for a moment that you currently have no real aims or goals at all. How would you choose what to do each day if you were that lost? If you didn't know why, do you believe you'd persevere with a challenging and time-consuming task? When we picture the aforementioned situation, we understand how crucial it is to have a target to strive for. It provides your life more meaning and purpose, which enhances mental clarity, increases action conviction, and speeds up decision-making. But most importantly, being aware of your motivations helps you stay inspired and motivated when challenges arise. Once you have a goal in mind, you can begin to plan the steps to get there, but it will help you to stay motivated and ready for the journey ahead if you can also see each step as you do it. These advantageous outcomes were demonstrated in a study of students who were asked to picture either the test's conclusion or the procedure for preparing for and taking it whilst taking a test. The results were better for the students who imagined the procedure, who also reported higher levels of motivation and better preparation. Do you remember the feeling of being so lost at the beginning of this summary? Imagine that you've discovered your calling and that it is to scale Mount Everest. Your objective is now very clear, it is the one thing you want to do. You must now conduct some study, begin your training, and acquire the necessary tools. Your objective has motivated you to start planning, imagining the stages, and moving closer to it. We should all work toward defining a goal, the one thing we hope to do and accomplish in life. You will put yourself on the path to amazing results by living with purpose and picturing the steps necessary to reach your objective. Key Concept 8. Never sacrifice your personal life in pursuit of your career, ruthlessly prioritize your work time instead. We all try to lead balanced lives by allocating the same amount of time to all the activities that are important to us, but we rarely pause to consider why we do this or what it is that we are truly attempting to accomplish. It makes sense that we would want to strike a balance because there seem to be so many demands on both our personal and professional lives, but in reality, this ideal of a balanced life is both unachievable and undesired. In both your personal and professional lives, if you try to do everything, you will wind up falling short in all you do. The words of author James Patterson perfectly summed up this predicament. Imagine juggling 5 balls while playing the game of life. They go by the names of honesty, job, family, and health. And you keep all of them in the air. But eventually you realize that the work ball is made of rubber and will bounce back if you drop it. The remaining 4 balls are glass. The phrase serves as an example of how we should never compromise on our personal priorities when the going gets tough at work. Possible irreversible damage has been done. But how can we achieve professional success if our personal life constantly comes first? To focus on professional objectives, you must ruthlessly prioritize your work time. In your personal life, ignoring any area can be risky, but in your professional life, your main priority is your job and everything else is up for discussion. Less important priorities will occasionally need to be decreased, put on hold, or managed by someone else until the more important tasks are completed. With this strategy, you'll be able to give your most crucial work the concentration it needs to be successful. Never sacrifice your personal ambitions for your career, ruthlessly prioritize your work time. Idea number 9. You must use efficient time management strategies and be willing to endure some turmoil in other areas if you want to concentrate on your one thing. Let's assume that you have identified your one thing, the top priority you need to accomplish, and that you have a detailed strategy outlining the actions required to accomplish your objective. You're all set to take on the world, but there's just one minor hitch: there isn't a stop button for life. The world does not patiently wait for you to finish while you toil away on your masterpiece. Things accumulate. There will always be people and tasks that require your focus. Consider that you are trying to secure a significant contract. You'll have to give things up. There will be a backlog of your usual work, or it will be assigned to others. The need to address them grows as other areas become increasingly chaotic. You can simplify other areas of your life by learning to deal with this by having faith that the work you are doing on your top goal will be successful for you. In other words, let the anarchy grow. How do you make the most of your time now that you're concentrating on your one thing? To work on your one thing, set up time blocks, commit to them, and protect them as if they were your most essential appointments. Additionally, you must make sure that your immediate surroundings do not obstruct your ability to utilize this time successfully. No matter where you work, you need to reduce distractions. If this isn't possible, think about working somewhere other than your office. These methods enable you to give your one thing the focus it requires. You must use efficient time management strategies and be willing to endure some turmoil in other areas if you want to concentrate on your one thing. Key Concept 10. In conclusion, this book's key message is: focusing on one thing, rather than many things, is the key to success. When pursuing your one goal, stay away from the traps that hold you back from success. Learn how to break through the noise so that you can deliver your finest work when it matters most. The following questions are addressed in this book's summaries. How should I prioritize my work and make goals? Your opportunities may be limited if you don't think large. Set priorities for your tasks because they are not all equally crucial. The focused question will assist you in setting priorities, producing tasks that can be completed, and achieving your objectives. How can I stop getting sidetracked from doing my one thing? The development of successive habits is the key to living a disciplined life. It is incredibly ineffective to multitask. Choose one item, and focus entirely on it. Your willpower is like a fuel tank, you must utilize it wisely or you risk running out just when you need it most. If you want to concentrate your energies on the most critical jobs, you must learn to say no to the less important ones. How do I pursue my one thing successfully and get fantastic results? You will put yourself on the path to amazing results by living with purpose and picturing the steps necessary to reach your objective. Never sacrifice your personal ambitions for your career, ruthlessly prioritize your work time. You must employ efficient time management techniques and accept some disruption in other areas if you want to concentrate on your one item. Advice you can use. Summaries of this book's practical suggestions. Set priorities for your task lists. Realize that not all of the items on your to-do list are equally important. Some will contribute more to your results than others if you wish to work much more productively. The tasks that are most likely to contribute to your success should always be given the highest priority. You should focus on these chores first as a result. Every day at the beginning of the day, ask yourself this focused question: what is the one thing I can accomplish right now that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? This is the centering question. On a regular basis will help you simplify your life, set priorities for your tasks, and maintain focus on your goal. Stop multitasking since you cannot properly focus on two or more tasks at once. In reality, when we attempt to multitask, we are simply transferring our attention between the tasks, which has a cost. We work less effectively and are more likely to make mistakes. Choose what is most crucial right now and focus all of your attention on it. If you want to learn more about Gary Keller and J. Papasan's fantastic book, click the link in the description box to purchase it on Amazon. Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe, like, and forward this video to your loved ones.